forest therapy is really based on the idea that spending time in nature and in forests in particular is therapeutic for us. So that's the term forest therapy. When we train guides in my company, we always say, remember that the forest is the therapist, right? So we just say, as a guide, you're not there to do therapy because the forest itself is going to be doing the therapy. And that's a really important concept. The earth is an alive being that is becoming something that's beautiful beyond our imagination. And each of us is born carrying within us something that the earth needs now. That's actually the purpose of life, is for each of us to learn how to embody that which the earth created us to bring into being, right? Who you were born to be is the mystery between you and the earth and the more than human world. So everything in the world, everything in the forest, that's the voice of the earth in a way, reminding us of who we were born to be, right? COVID gives us an opportunity to maybe reset some of how we live. And it was certainly an opportunity for my organization, NAFT. At first, it looked like it was going to put us out of business and was a big crisis. But what we learned is how to adapt. And as a result, our training is stronger than ever. And so COVID came to us in that way as a teacher saying, pay attention, don't get complacent, right? If I'm doing a guided walk with Zoom, I may have 20 people from 20 different forests in different parts of the world. And when we share on Zoom what we're noticing, we talk about what our experiences are, we'll do that several times. In a way, we're hearing the voices of many different forests come together. And that's something that we didn't have before COVID. In fact, before COVID, when people would ask me every now and then, what do you think about doing this, on the internet? And I said, nah, that'll never work. Turns out I was wrong, because it works really well and works really powerfully. So I think COVID has taught us that. When our nervous system is in a healthy state, everything in our body functions pretty optimally. But when we get stressed, then we have a lot of suppression of parts of our nervous system, and that affects all the other systems in our body. One of the effects of that is our immune systems become suppressed. So this is very measurable. The white blood cells that are very active parts of our immune systems, the count gets suppressed when we're stressed. If you go out for a 3-hour walk and that's what's being measured, your immune system is going to measurably be functioning better. That's just one system. That's the immune system, and that has to do with many ripple effects. It has to do with our wellness. It has to do with cancer prevention. It has to do with our ability to recover from any other diseases that we may have, and so on. Going for a walk in nature is going to help to strengthen your immune system, for one thing, right? And so I'm not saying it's going to prevent you from getting COVID, but it should help. All by itself, social isolation can create a lot of damaging physical effects and emotional effects and spiritual and psychological effects. And so going with a couple of other people is really important to do that. My main recommendation for people who are really struggling with COVID is find the 1 or 2 people who are kind of in your pod, who you trust and you're close to, and who you can negotiate your sense of personal safe boundaries, masks, distance, whatever, and go on walks together. And it can just be that simple. You can't get out to a trail. There are many other ways to connect with nature, particularly even if there's a park nearby that you can go to and just sit with your back against a tree and just feel that tree and let that tree's energy be mingle with your energy. Things like that can be really helpful. Jacques Cousteau and a number of other people have said this, that we protect what we love. And love implies that we're in relationship with it, right? So it's beyond just an aesthetic appreciation, like, oh, the mountains are pretty. It's more like, I know that mountain and I have a sense of belonging and kinship with it. When we start developing that, when we develop an awareness of what in forest therapy we call it our web of interbeing, when we know how we are, we feel it from our hearts, how we're connected with, say, the dolphins and the bluefin tuna, and how we're connected with the forests and how we're connected with the waters, then our behavior changes towards those things. We start acting from a place of tenderness, just as we do with people who we love. I would hope that almost everyone at least can open a window when the weather's good and listen to birds and maybe watch birds. So noticing things like the birds, even the weather, even like the season is changing right now. What's changing in the season? Noticing that. It might even help keep a daily nature journal. That's a way to stay engaged with and attuned to nature. I think there's, thousands of different ways that we can do this. And probably the first step to take for everyone is to just say, I can do this. Be really aware of the degree to which the pandemic has increased your screen time and try to keep that under control. So that would be one thing. Another one would be to get a daily nature dose however you can. I make a point of at least once a week going out and doing a real hike somewhere in a wild place. So I'm fortunate because I only have to drive 10 minutes from my house and I'm in a wilderness area. Then whenever you can, try to get out and do a real walk in a wild place if you have anything like that. I think that the Boom Festival is an example of an earth dreaming where the earth is, whoever organized the Boom Festival was really listening to dreaming, saying it's time to bring people together and to celebrate the idea of sustainability and to really give each other the support that you need, because it's hard to make these big lifestyle changes become more sustainable by yourself. You got to feel like you're part of a community. And not only that, a community that's celebrating it, that's turning it into something joyous and fun and exploring it in many different ways through arts and music and, everything, all the different ways that people explore it. I think it's really important to have these kinds of gatherings and to have them, is particularly the idea of celebrating the idea that we can do this, that there are changes that we can make. We can love each other through the difficulty of making those changes, and that helps us love the earth more.